And his advice was to me was, he said, I had to decide. Either I was going to do this race car thing full time, or I was going to get a job full time. He says, and you can't do both.
The Joe Shear Classic. The very name conjures feelings of prestige, royalty, and tradition.
Tremendous driving job by Joe Shear.
Meticulous in his endeavors, respected by his peers, Joe Shear did it his way. Winning was just a part of the process. Since 2008, it has been a springtime tradition to honor the multi-time Artco Challenge Series champion. Racing beneath the budding trees, around the green grass, the stars and cars of the ASA Midwest Tour are ready once again to do battle. Former Shear Classic winners Ty Majeski, Casey Johnson, and Austin Nason will be battling for the top step on the podium at Wisconsin's fastest half mile. Others looking to claim top honors include two-time Midwest Tour champion Gabe Summers, Luke Fenhaus, Ty Fredrickson, and Klawicki Driver Development Program finalist Bryce Miller. So get ready. Strap in. It's springtime in Wisconsin at one of the Midwest's crown jewel events, all in honor of one of their most prized sons. It is time for the Joe Shear Classic 200 presented by Toyota at Madison International Speedway.
Welcome to our coverage of the Joe Shear Classic presented by Toyota here at Madison International Speedway. The rite of spring is here, and a special occasion happens each and every first Sunday in May in honor of one of the Midwest's best racers of all time, Joe Shear, who won across the nation and proved to be the measure of many, many different racers that came through these parts. As he grew up in southern Wisconsin, raced the Rockford Speedway, owned that racetrack, as we just saw. He won in his final race in the National Short Track Championships in 1997 prior to passing away in early 1998. This race will continue in the tradition of Joe Shear, racing at a track he loved and was a champion at. This racetrack is a half mile, Wisconsin's fastest half mile, owned by the McCarnes family since 2015. Sam Bart has built this track in the mid-'70s. This half mile is going to be exciting. The Midwest Truck Series is on track right now. The Midwest Tour, the ASA Midwest Tour, begins their 2025 season today. I'm Jim Trado along with Dean Strom. Matt Votti's joining us as well. And as the sun shines and the wind blows, Dean, it is indeed the feeling of everything right about racing in Wisconsin in the springtime.
You and I and Matt, we just gave ourselves knuckles, a fist bump. 2025 is here, fellas. And what better way to start the 2025 race season for the ASA Midwest Tour and here in the Upper Midwest than right here at Madison International Speedway. It's going to be a glorious day. It's going to be a jam-packed crowd. We're going to see some great racing, not only from the Midwest trucks, but from the super late models of the Midwest Tour. It's going to be bad.
Matt Votti, I know you had the shortest drive among us three Wisconsin-based guys, but there's something special about this racetrack. You've spent a lot of time, a lot of Friday nights here, and now we get a chance to showcase this racetrack once again on Track TV.
Yeah, this, a 5-minute drive for me just down the road. I grew up spending my Friday nights here since it got repaved in 1992, and we have been blessed with this immense amount of competition that has come through the gate here every Friday, and that is no different here this afternoon. This story this weekend, we're going to see qualifying unfold here in about 15 minutes for the ASA Midwest Tour, and there's 7, 8, 9, 10 guys. The list just keeps growing as the afternoon goes for practice. And who is the favorite to win this race? Probably the 91. He comes in here winning 2 straight. He looked really good in practice yesterday. They took the practice opportunity last weekend And
don't go too far out on that branch.
I don't want to go too far. I mean,
Ty Majeski?
Well, he comes in with 2 on a row, but there's guys like Andrew Morrissey in this field. His average finish when he was on tour last year, 2nd. He was strong everywhere they went. This is considered his home track. Casey Johnson considers this one of his home tracks. He was really good here. Dalton Zier won the Howie Letall race last year and was in contention to win this race a year ago. If 119 has things go his way, he's a player. The 15 of Gabe Summers. On and on, we can go down the list. The Midwest Tour is stacked. It gets to start right here at this historic racetrack, and we're glad you guys are here.
And it's a special occasion in more than one way. The Midwest Truck Series is doing group qualifying now to really begin in earnest their point season at Madison International Speedway. They began their season at Dells Raceway Park in the Icebreaker a month ago or so. These fans have been treated to a lot. There's a car show in the parking lot featuring the cars of Mark Martin, who raced here. Starting in 1977, he raced here in a super late model, and it was one of the many tracks he learned how to race to become a NASCAR Hall of Famer. Mark Martin is here today. He's signing autographs in the stands. He's going to be the Grand Marshal for the race today. And these fans are being treated now to qualifying for the Midwest Truck Series. And I'm telling you, Mark's had a ball. He's been here since yesterday, hanging out in the pits, looking at race cars, looking at semi-haulers. He was getting excited that John DeAndros is driving a Peterbilt. I mean, it's exciting to see him excited at a racetrack.
He got to sit down with Dave Watson, a competitor of his, when Mark was barnstorming around the upper Midwest. Dave Watson was doing the same thing. Dave's a few years older, but yeah, they had a chance to just sit down and hang out. And Kevin Ramsell from the tour got to kind of be a fly on the wall and ask him a few different questions, and that was kind of cool, because that's, for us that appreciate the history of short track racing here in the upper Midwest, that's short track royalty, Dave Watson and Mark Martin.
We're hoping to get Mark Martin on our show today as well. That will be on our tracktv.com coverage, so we hope you're enjoying this live look in, but at some point we're going to switch that off and go to on demand or watch it live. You can watch it live today. You can watch it anytime you'd like on demand for the next 30 days if you buy just a 1-month subscription. We encourage you to buy the whole year, because everything ASA, everything Midwest Tour, ASA Stars National Tour, ASA Southern Super Series, ASA CRA Super Series, they're all racing here, as well as the Big 8 Series on tracktv.com. Today's coverage presented by Toyota.
Right now, it's the Midwest Truck Series on track. They do group qualifying, Jim. They get 4 laps here. We're going to take the top 14 fastest by time, advance them to their 36-lap feature, the Bullseye Joe Shear Classic 36, coming your way a little bit later on. But, yeah, 14 through time. And right now, Derek Meyer in the number 10 truck is pacing the field at an 18.901. Who doesn't like a good drone shot, right?
Derek Meyer, one of the younger drivers in the field today. That young teenager is also driving a truck that was built and raced and won with by Ty Majeski, by his crew chief, Toby Noodleman. Jeff Holtz is second quickest. He's a veteran returning to the series again. Great to see him racing in this series. And Jason Schuler, welcome back after a decade away from his home track. Out of Cambridge, Wisconsin, Jason Schuler racing in the number 31L, a truck that we'll tell you more about during the race today. But it's great to see Jason back, and this is one of his home tracks. And if you don't know the name Jason Schuler, when Matt Kenseth was done with the race car on a late model level at Jefferson, Jason bought it. Jason was a high school classmate of Matt Kenseth. When Matt went to a super late model, Jason bought the next super late model that Matt was moving out of. He also was Matt's teammate in the NASCAR Xfinity Series back in the day, in the Visine colors. When Matt would race partial schedule, Jason was also part of that as a part-time NASCAR racer for several years. So it's kind of cool that all comes back to play at a track that's about, 10 miles away from Matt Kenseth grew up, and about 10 miles away for Jason Schuler. It's great to see him back behind the wheel of a Midwest Truck Series truck here today. He's currently third quick, James Lynch fourth. And we're looking at the rundown here on qualifying. This number 22 is Russ Blakely out of Kentucky.
Frankfort, Kentucky, and
yep.
Benson Valley Bourbon. I had a chance to talk to Russ for just a couple of minutes. You know, if you recall, a month or so ago, they had some serious flooding in Frankfort, Kentucky, and Russ said it got the road washed out. We couldn't get to the Bourbon, but the Bourbon was fine. The Bourbon made it through the flood okay.
And he's on a riverfront. He told me that was a boat storage facility that he ended up finding the history about that distillery, and he's got 4 buildings now in operation making that Benson Valley Bourbon that should be available soon regionally and nationally. So that's the look, that's the view. Coming off of turn number 2, that's the only on and off ramp onto the racetrack. It's been that way since day one. They come down the hill back to the pit area, and we have the next group already lined up on the road, ready to rock out, and that's Mark Martin's little motorhome right there, the base of your screen. He's loving the fact he's back here in Wisconsin visiting with a bunch of fans here.
Next group of trucks will roll. We have 33 checked in through the back gate. 18 have qualified right now. And going out on track, the 3 truck, our reigning champion in the Midwest Truck Series, Brandon Reichenberger.
Colin Refner gets a call in the number 31 truck. They went to victory lane last year with James Lynch driving that truck as a guest driver. Colin's in that truck full time this year. It's going to be cool to see Tom Refner's grandson racing in the Midwest Truck Series this year.
Going to scale back from the super late model racing, and as he said jokingly, we could spend somebody else's money. We were talking about this being kind of a home track to some of these super late guys, but for the truckers, this is their home track. This is where the trucks were first conceived way back in 1994 when Race Experience was doing test rides, if you will. You could rent rides.
Yeah,
and that was how the Truck Series came to be here in the Dells, and it turned into a Friday night series. And this is like truck race 204 or something, lifetime here at Madison. So truckers get to come home this weekend too.
There's the champ, Brandon Reichenberger, in the number 3. A couple of duplicate numbers. He's out of Appleton, Wisconsin. His Chevy Silverado's got a bright pink paint scheme, and I know Brandon and his family, his young boy has got some medical needs, and it's great to see the racing community rallied around him in a big way to raise some funds, auction out some doors, and really get behind Brandon and his son's recovery.
And he was at the driver's meeting.
He was, yeah. Couldn't catch him. That kid was fast.
They got to take in the Slinger opener last week, so they, as a family, sat in the stands, and it's good to see all 3 of them here at the racetrack this weekend.
Yeah, if you follow us on Track TV, Matt, we talked about that at Oktoberfest last year, the last time that we were on air. We talked about the story and raised a bunch of awareness, and it was pretty cool as his dad went out and secured a championship.
Yeah, and admittedly from Brandon, we caught him by surprise. He didn't know we were going to be doing that, and he happened to see it on the big board on the infield, which we've got for the fans here this weekend too. But that's how he said, I had to get refocused. I was sitting there ready to go, and you guys kind of caught me by surprise.
That was very special. And we love the idea we get to cover these races and cover these stories of these Midwestern racing heroes. And Mark Martin has not been bashful about saying, this is where I learned to race. This is where I wanted to race. He said it would take me 3 months to race in what I could do in 3 weeks' time here in Wisconsin, racing 4 or 5, 6 nights a week. And I know that it's important for Mark to be back here with the fans. And I know it's important that he's got a chance to see fans. He hasn't been here in a while. I think he went to Wisconsin International Raceway a couple years ago as a guest, but did not have the full exposure of a Grand Marshal and the autographs and such. It's great to see him back here. And Aaron Moyer now coming down, dropping into the bowl, as I like to say, off the turn 2 ramp down onto the racetrack, as this is a star-studded field. Brent Strelka, we just saw on the racetrack. He's been doing a lot of super late model racing. He's bought himself a Midwest Truck Series truck.
And committed to run the full year.
Yeah, it's Matt, really cool.
Matt, we have an update. The guy who we had in the 22 truck, Russ Blakely, he's not in that truck.
No, James Swan, 6-time series champion, had some issues yesterday, blew up the 97 truck, and his good buddy Russell, he said, why don't you jump in this thing and help me figure it out? So it'll be James Swan behind the wheel of the 22 truck here this afternoon.
Breaking news, broke after we talked about Russ and how much we like Russ. He's a spectator today, but really it's cool because Russ's truck was destroyed basically at Dells Raceway Park in the season opener, and he just got that truck done. So what better way than a 6-time Midwest Truck Series champion jumping in there to smooth things over in the 22.
And Swanee will be showing 9th on the board right now. A 6:08 graphics. Qualifying rolls on, and there, Jim, we have the 60 truck on screen. That is the winner of the Midwest Truck Series opening event.
The winningest driver in 2025 of the Midwest Truck Series. One race in, he was the winner. Led every lap from the pole at a non-stop green to checkered at Dells Raceway Park, might I add.
Grant Griesbach in that number 60. That was career win number 2 for Griesbach. We got to call career win number 1 for Grant at Kaukauna.
Yep.
The undercard for the Gandry Auto Group 250. That was good to see that Scott and Laurie Lynch got their first win as a truck owner. Grant got his first truck win as a truck driver. And Grant Griesbach out in qualifying right now. And the session continues to be paced by Derek Meyer. We should say 608 Graphics, premium provider, quality vehicle wraps, window tinting, detailing services, as well as corporate signage and advertising promotions. 608 Graphics qualifying session rolls on. 28 trucks have recorded a lap.
Top 14, you said, lock in?
Top 14.
All right, Nicholas Van in the number 24 truck out of Hortonville was